Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Insurance Town. I'm the Mayor Heath Sheeran and the host of this podcast. Guys, I'm glad you're here hanging out with me today. I've got my good friend and, as I joke with, 47th time guest on the show, Chris Green. He always fascinates me with some of the stuff he's into, and he's gotten into some really cool stuff with ChatGPT and with generative AI and automation and marketing, and I just thought it'd be cool to have him come on. He always texts me these neat ideas and what he's got going on. And so I thought, you know what? Let's bring him in. So check this one out. I think you're going to really enjoy it. And thank you to Smart Choice for being my sponsor on this episode. They are the fastest growing agency network, hands down. And they've got well over 10,000, people that are part of them, that are members that are enjoying all of the benefits of being a Smart Choice agent. And 11 billion in carrier written premium. Unbelievable. They've got relationships with E&S carriers, with E&S companies and brokers. They've got relationships with all the major players. They love working with you. Also, my good friends over at Canopy Connect. Guys, Nick Berry joined the team over there and does some really cool stuff with marketing. You've got the team with Ray. You've got Tolga and his team of developers. You've got Casey over there in sales. I mean, I could go on and on and on, and I don't want to mention any more names because I'm forgetting some, but the team is phenomenal, and they're doing all kinds of really cool stuff, from intake forms to onboarding experience to deck pages like they always do. Now they can do loss runs. They can do anything and everything that you need to do when it comes to taking care of that prospect intake. They're unbelievable. Get a demo. Check them out. You've got to, as soon as you can. Actually, right now, just go ahead and hit pause on this. Look up usecanopy.com/Heath and ignore the old cheesy, stupid video that I did back in 2020. But definitely check out a demo and definitely make sure you get that discount. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get out of the way for you to check out my conversation with my main man, Chris Green. Chris Green, 47th time guest on the Insurance Town podcast. What's up, brother?
Not much. At this point, it should be Insurance Town. It should be Insurance State. I mean, it's growing so big for you.
Dude, I appreciate that. Yeah, and as many times you've been a guest, you might as well be a co-host. So, it's crazy. How you been?
I've been good.
Dude, I don't want to script anything or talk about it. I just want to catch up with you, and this just be the audience getting to eavesdrop on you and I catching up. But the last time we talked, you were in school getting a degree in AI. Yeah. What's going on with that? Like, are you still doing some of that?
I got 2 semesters left. I'm finishing my master's in artificial intelligence and marketing at the University of Cincinnati, and I'm finishing my master's in digital marketing at Wake Forest. And I just finished up my certification in artificial intelligence. I'm also a They Ask You Answer coach for Marcus Sheridan's company and a Story Brand certified coach for Donald Miller's company.
Dude, that's wild. So since you've been playing around with the ChatGPT thing, what's the most interesting thing you've heard people use, or funniest thing you've heard people use ChatGPT for?
I use it to respond to my wife's comments all the time.
Okay, tell me a little more about that.
I built I cloned myself with AI, and it drives my wife nuts.
Okay.
So she goes, "Well, what do you want for dinner?" I said, "Ask the clone."
Oh, that is hilarious. And is the clone pretty dead on?
It is dead on. I even built in my dad jokes. I built an internal version for my team. I built an external version for my customers. It takes every blog, every YouTube video I've generated in 10 years. It's not allowed to search the internet. It's literally only allowed to search what I give it. My team asks me like 2 questions a day now.
Wow. That's the...
And so I'm thinking other agency owners basically how to clone themselves with this. Look, the purpose isn't to replace this, but imagine you're in a meeting. Imagine you've got a new hire, and they've got this assistant with them every step of the way.
Yeah, dude.
And then if it doesn't have the answers, it actually emails me and says, "Hey, your clone needs to be updated." It lets my content manager know. We either do a video, a blog, or whatever, and when we do, it syncs it back to it, so the clone continues to get smarter.
Dude. And that's the thing, is time is the biggest currency not talked about. And I think that, people need to be understanding more of that. And like you said, it doesn't replace. It's there to help do you can do other things that you need to be doing, whether it's building relationships, going to the grocery store and hanging out with your kids, or building something within your agency.
Everybody goes, "Oh, it's going to replace my job." I said, "You're absolutely right. It is going to replace your job, and it's going to give you a better job." I said, "Truly, what is really going to replace, I think, is the tasks we do every day, and our jobs are going to be different. But I think they're going to be more rewarding because we're going to be doing more high value, more high rewarding stuff than just data entry."
So when do you go from flood guru to AI guru?
Well, I work inside my insurance agency on Mondays and Wednesdays with our team, and I work inside our marketing agency on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I meet with our developers on Fridays for both companies as we develop the AIs, the automations, the APIs, all this different stuff. Like right now, we're finishing up an integration with Care AI Phone in HubSpot. We're finishing up an integration with IPFS in HubSpot, where my team literally hits one button and the entire payment process is taken care of.
Oh, that's
And what I
awesome.
did is my role in AI automation, whatever it is, what I look at is four things. I need to solve problems. I need to remove frictions. I need to increase the customer experience and improve the employee experience. So I go and look, all right, what are the problems we're having? What are the frictions we're having? Well, I'll give you an example. One of them I'm quoting was our VAs. We're having trouble getting data, having trouble finding a year bill. They were going through all these different websites. So I built a quoting assistant tool, and I even posted it for our private community today and said, look, when I put an address in, I want you to pull these things. I want you to pull the photos, the year built. I want you to break everything down to interior, exterior. And literally, she puts the address in there. She's get everything she needs in less than 30 seconds.
Wow.
And I just checked in on with her today. She goes, oh, because she goes, it makes it so much easier. But now I can use the automation to pull that information automatically. So when we have a new deal come in, if something's missing, I can send the basically the API over to OpenAI. It pulls that data and it pushes it back to HubSpot and it kind of fills the gaps. So she's not spending all day searching for that data.
Wow. And so do you have to set up a separate like closed API or closed
I do.
GPT for each one of these, or do you just
Yeah.
have one that you use, or each one has their own closed GPT?
Each one has their own because by the time I look, think about, you're not going to have your best quarterback playing wide receiver. And this is where
100%.
people get lost with AI. Oh, I'm going to use the new 4.0 model for everything. And actually, this is why I built a guide on which AI model to use for which task in the agency. In fact, I built one that's my HR assistant, and I send my Zoom interviews through there, and it gives me the next recommendations it thinks before I present it to my AI board, before I present it back to my team members.
Oh my gosh. So if I looked at your chat GPT, you'd have a whole bunch of projects along
We
that
have
left
about a
side.
thousand. Yeah, we have probably about 1,000 of them that I've built.
And chat GPT, for people that don't understand, like it's large enough, it can hold all that stuff and host all those things privately for you.
It's
And there's
becoming
no
its own
limit on that
operating
right
system.
now. What?
Nope, it's becoming its own operating system, just like Google. They're basically creating their own ecosystem. Because look, we use LM Notebook, and I'll give you an example how we use LM Notebook. And this is what really excites me: is for so long, if we went to college, a lot of colleges were theory. Well, how do I take that theory and apply it today? Well, Marcus Sheridan had a friend who released a book called Answer Rank. I took Answer Rank and I put it in the Google LM Notebook, and I had it read it to me through the audio overview. They have something called interactive beta. So with when interactive beta, I can hit join and I can join in on the podcast interview and start asking it questions about the book. And as I do, it's actually building a standard operating procedure for me in the back end. And then when we're done, I say, hey, will you email that to me? It emails me the whole breakdown. It's now taken that book and helped me apply it to my brand immediately.
That's that's like next level stuff. You must have learned that at Wake Forest or wherever you're studying right
Well,
now.
no, I'll tell you this. I actually built a target audience builder for insurance agents, a GPT that's got about 22,000 pieces of data that I actually built that project for Lululemon when I was at Wake. And I took the framework for a whole semester and I built it for insurance.
Oh wow. That's
So
really
now
cool. So
people know, hey, I can figure out my target audience in less than 10 minutes.
yeah. And I'm doing a lot of those things and I've loved it. We're still in the wild, wild west of ChatGPT and generative AI in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
but it's been around long enough that, I've learned quite a bit about it and I've played with it quite a bit and I've helped some other people about it. But you're next level with some of this stuff. And, so
So
for
I'll
the
tell you what I've
audience,
been doing the last week with it.
tell me what?
So what I've done is I went into HubSpot and said, okay, here's what I want to know. I really want to know in Alabama, flood zone AE, people who are required to have it for a mortgage. Like, tell me what the premium is. Tell me what the coverage amount is. I said, but don't pull out personal information. I want you to use my HIPAA protection tool to protect that. And so what it was able to do was pull this out and said, okay, Out of 600 customers, the average premium is $750 compared to the national average of $1,100. So I'm now able to take our pricing page for Alabama and show people, hey, on average, our customers save almost 25% compared to the national average. That's data my competition cannot replicate because it's my data source. And that's how we should be using our data to display, to provide value to customers. Then the LM models and Google see it as unique content and they're driving us to the top because they're like, look, you're not providing the same content as everybody else. You're providing something very unique that's very valuable.
100%. And that's what people need to understand is they have all the data right there in their agency management system, or they have it there in their agency Zoom or their CRM or whatever they're
Yeah,
using.
I work in 5 agency Zooms right now, and we're doing this exact process right now of helping them understand, all right, what data can we use here to produce the right kind of content for our agency?
And like, what are some of the things that you're seeing people like? When you say the right kind of content,
For example, hey, the customer asked me, what are you seeing in price increases over the last 24 months? Well, great. Let's go see what have we actually seen in this area with our current customers. Now, when someone asks that, hey, what have you seen? Well, you can be completely transparent. Hey, this is what we're seeing with our current customers over the last 24 months. Well, no one else is willing to give me that information.
but I think so. You being transparent with those people and being open and honest has helped you in such a big way.
It gives you trust instantly. I could do a video on it. I could do a blog on it. I can, use it for a pricing calculator. Or, hey, what is I don't know how much coverage I need. What do you see? Well, then I could take some of the data in these areas. On average, this is what we see with our customers in your particular area on how much coverage they're looking at.
Yeah, and that's like real deal. Like this is I can't say your neighbor's name, but this is your neighbor. What they've
Yes.
got. This is the guy down the street. This is what and everybody there's that herd mentality. Everybody wants to have what everybody else has. Everybody wants to
Right.
follow what everyone else is doing, and so you're able to kind of take that and play into that.
And we're saying, look, you're sitting on a gold mine, your own data. I mean, but let's use it the right way. Let's use it a responsible way, but let's
100%.
use it in a way that educates people. Let's also use it in a way that grows the company.
And that's the key is using it in a way to grow the company and to grow
Yeah.
in a way it's people don't always see the ROI in it. They just think, oh, it's just data or it's just information or it's just another Google. But there's so much you can use with ChatGPT or generative AI in general. And just the other question I was going to ask you: are you like one brand over another, whether it's ChatGPT or Microsoft
I don't really use
Copilot, or are you
Microsoft a lot.
using?
I do Google and I do OpenAI a lot. I also use another one called Manus. We've been using Manus for almost a year. What I tell people the difference between ChatGPT and Manus is Manus will go and do the work for you. So Manus will actually go and scrape Reddit and Quora and all those forums for me every Friday and find questions that people are asking and bring them back to us and let us know if we're going to create content. Or then it'll do a scrape my website and says, okay, Chris has videos on 9 out of 10 of these. This tells me this 10th one, I need to get to this Chris so he can do a video on it.
100%. And like Claude, you use Claude?
I use Claude more for coding.
Okay.
People like it for writing, but I still, lately ChatGPT's done a better job of writing, but I actually built our own writing assistants. And I do the
Okay.
same thing on our marketing agencies. I built a separate GPT for each one of our marketing clients that has their brand, their voice, their tone, and it's only used for them. We do the same thing on a thumbnail designer. It is only built for them, it is only used for them.
And so I almost feels like in your agency or in your companies, you need like a chat GPT manager, a generative AI manager.
I am the what you would call, I serve for a lot of companies like this as well. I would call myself the chief artificial intelligence officer.
Yeah. That's going to be a thing
It
in
is.
agencies in the future. And I think people don't recognize it's not too far fetched or too far off for that matter to think about. It may not replace, but it's going to create new jobs. And I think agencies will have AI coordinators, AI managers, AI whatever it might be, because that's going to be a full time job loading in all these chat GPTs, all this information. Go ahead.
My content manager oversees about 20 different AI agents right now, and my VA oversees about 100.
When you say AI agents, what do you mean?
I mean, like they're going and doing a lot of the work for them.
Yeah.
They're giving it a task, and it's going and doing research and these things, and then it's coming back. Oh no, you missed this, you missed that. We need to make this adjustment. Just like a new employee, we're just going from managing people to managing robots. It feels like.
100%.
But
And for
everyone else is
those,
going away when they're trying to cut back on their staff. And I'll tell you that when it comes to content managers, we're now hiring two more content managers because with AI now, it used to be like, hey, I'm looking for auto insurance in Arkansas. Now it's you may have 10 detailed questions on auto insurance in Arkansas because of the AI. And we need the content managers that can work the right way with the AI to get every question answered. So when someone comes to us, they go to our competition, we literally have every question answered, whether through audio, text, video, or visual. Like we have hit every aspect of it, and we've put the employees in place to oversee it, for them to understand how much it means to us to be an educational and a media company first.
yeah, I think that that's huge. Like, okay, let's put this bottom shelf for a minute and talk to agents that are listening. If you're an agency or a producer or a CSR, somebody listening right now, what are some practical, like right now, if they've never really thought beyond just using ChatGPT for putting some blog post out or putting some content on social, what are some ways that they could safely use it in their agency and get ROI on that, like now?
There's one thing that there's probably one of the most important things you should do in your agency right now, and it doesn't really even involve AI.
Okay.
Go and get a Google Sheet or a shared drive. And on this Google Sheet or shared drive, each time a customer asks you a question, you're going to type this question into the sheet. You're going to make it shareable where people can change it. And it's going to have a yes or no. Did I answer this question? Yes or no? If it has no, at the end of each week, you're going to meet with your team and decide if we're going to create a blog or we're going to do a video, and you're going to get those questions answered. And then when they're answered, you can put a URL next to it. So the next time someone gets asked that question, they can go to it. Then when you have this sheet kind of saved, you can build your own GPT and put it in here, and your team can ask it that question, and it gives them the URL to share with the customer. That's either a video from you, a blog from you, maybe an ebook from you, and now the customer understands that they're in the right place because you're reading their mind.
And you're talking any kind of question, no dumb
Yes.
questions put in there.
No
It could
dumb
be a simple
question.
question as like, what coverage limits should I have in city of what or state of this?
Yep.
And then all the way to as complicated as whatever the questions they're asking. So it's kind of building your own they ask you answer for GPTs.
You're exactly well. That's exactly what we've done with endless customers. Is endless customers have their own for Marcus Sheridan's company. In fact, we've been using that GPT for almost a year, where we basically cloned it for our company and each one of the companies we work with. And that's just a small part of the process. I built another GPT called the Trust and Grow Framework, which is what I've used from mentors like They Ask You Answer and StoryBrand. I've kind of brought that together for my own framework that I call Trust and Grow Framework, where we remove sales funnels and we implement what I call trust funnels, where we're gaining trust at each stage, where the customer, when they get to the end, it's a no-brainer for them when they make that decision because we've provided the right pieces of content through the sales process, the service process, claims process, renewal. Each time that they've had those resources. For example, when someone calls in to file a claim with Kara, even before I get on the phone with them, they've already got my YouTube playlist, which is a step by step. I'm looking at filing this claim. They've already had an ebook from me on what to document. And so when they get on the phone with me, it's either am I going to file a claim or not?
So all that's automated from the time they pick up the phone and call in.
Yep, because the carrier recognizes and creates a workflow in HubSpot, but it's all because of the content I've created.
So you had to spend a little bit of time building that, but it's taken probably years, if not, longer
It
to
has taken
build
years.
that.
That's why I tell people that's why it's so important to have somebody in your team that kind of has the accountability, the responsibility of content.
And so again, I appreciate it. The first thing you said, like building that, they ask you answer sheet for that Google Doc or a Google form, and again, something that, maybe agents or even carriers or, tech companies, whoever's listening right now, what's something else that they could do to get like an immediate gratification, that they could do that they're not doing right now. I know the Google Doc and what you're talking about takes a little bit of time and that long game. There's a lot of impatient people that listen to my podcast and they want to know how they can do it right now that nobody else is doing.
So here's what you want to focus on, and this is where AI. Think about this: when people, your website traffic is going down, and people are really panicking because of this. But pay very close attention because your conversions are going up if you're doing this right. And what's happening is people are using AI overview and AI search, and they're getting all these answers. When they finally do get to your website, they're ready to buy. So make
Yeah.
it really easy for them to buy.
So update your website so that when the GPTs
Like
or
have the
the
questions
co-pilots
answered
or
on
whoever
there.
goes to your
Yes.
website, go ahead. I talked over you. What?
No, exactly. Do that, but don't spend the entire homepage talking about your agency. Talk about the customer's problem.
Yeah. I think it goes back to, maybe I'm wrong. It sounds to me like when people used to write things for their website, or their content for SEO purposes, now you're talking about doing it for GPT purposes or for generative AI purposes.
One of the things that excites me the most about generated AI is it's a better customer experience. Like if we look at Google search, it's really been a terrible experience. If you look at ads everywhere, it's so hard to find stuff. But the way things have been done on a keyword, it has not really been written or done in the form of truly answering a question for a customer.
So, do you think that, and you don't have a gold, the golden ball, or the whatever, the glass, what do you call that thing? The
Crystal
crystal
ball.
ball. Jesus, I need a GPT to think of that. The crystal ball. But do you think it comes a place to where it becomes more of an ad play for ChatGPT down the line, or?
I know. I can tell you that's almost exactly where they're going to end up going. They're going to have to probably in order because ChatGPT is going to become its own ecosystem.
Yeah.
They don't want you to leave ChatGPT, and that's how they're going to keep you there too with ads, push stuff in. I mean, even Google is adding ads now in the AI overview.
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of use cases that could be there with that. But I also think that, with all the amount of information in there, closed or not, a lot of people are still using the open format where it's not private and whatnot. There's a lot of stuff in there that you can ask and find out. And so I think it's going to become a valuable thing. I don't think it replaces Google by any means, but I do think, and maybe I'm wrong, but do you think there's going to be a place for like ChatGPT reviews and ChatGPT whatever, kind of like Google's done,
I
or
think
ChatGPT
that
maps?
here's what I think. Everybody goes SEO and all that stuff. So look, SEO is not dead. Search is just completely changing. But it's honestly, a lot of people are panicking. I think it's changing for the good because it's finally changing for the customer journey and the customer experience.
Sure.
But when I tell people, look, your website used to be the puzzle. Now it's a piece of the puzzle. That means they may get to you through Reddit. They may get to you through Facebook or Instagram. And so you've got to make sure you're touching your audience in the right place. You're providing the right content and you're creating what I call brand temperature. And this is that people actually know about your brand. They can trust your brand, but they trust your brand because they know you. Because people buy from people, they don't buy from brands.
100%. And do you think that with the use of something like this, people could create false images, false brands, not trick, but, and I'm not talking things like that, but could it become a kind of a danger, like anything really?
It absolutely. I mean, look at AI avatar. Now we use some AI avatar stuff, but AI video is getting so good and people are going so deep into it. I actually think the ones that are still doing human video content are going to rise to the top because everybody's going to go into that pool, and the ones that are still doing some of that human content are going to be the ones who stand out.
100%. I think I know for a fact, like I say that, I feel like I can tell when I get an email that's written with AI, or I see a LinkedIn post that's written with AI. Now, that
Yep.
post probably still gets enough traction from whoever I saw it from, but I can tell it's written with AI because, however it's written, or the words they use, or the descriptions they put in there, no matter how much you customize, even my own, I've customized it to the nth degree. But there's still times that I go in there and I have to make a lot of edits myself, and move some things around and change some things out because I don't want it to sound like AI. I just kind of use it just to help me get some ideas or get some prompts going.
There's one thing you can do with it that completely change that. Do you know what that is?
What's that?
And I have this rule with my team. My team is not allowed to text ChatGPT. You can only talk to it.
Oh,
Because think about this, the way you type something, the way you speak something is completely different. Think about how
yes.
you type an email to a coworker. Think about how you speak to a coworker. Well, we should be treating ChatGPT like a coworker.
Oh, wow. So you just hit the
But
little
think about this,
microphone
when
and
people
talk to
speak
them.
on their phones of how they're searching for things, well, we should go ahead and get in the practice of doing that with ChatGPT so that our content, we're speaking it, and when it comes out, it sounds more conversational, helping someone solve a problem, and so instead of so robotic.
Yeah, that's really good.
And now
I
we're
hadn't
also
thought
able to
about
pick
that.
up more brand, more tone, and more voice because it knows our conversation.
Yeah, that's good. I hadn't thought about
And
that.
now my nephew, who's been working with me this summer, who's 15, I've been playing tricks on him. He's been speaking to it. And what he didn't know is I was messing with it on the back end, and he was getting really frustrated with it, and it was really hilarious. He goes, if you don't do this right, I'm going to fire you. It was pretty funny.
So like, how were you messing with it on the back end? I'd love to hear that.
because he was using my account. So I was typing answers in, like going rogue with it just to mess with him.
Oh,
Like
that's
this summer,
hilarious. So
for
you can
example, next year
control
he's
what the responses are. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
like he's gone into he's
How do you
going into
control the
physics and algebra
responses?
next year. It's not responses. Well, what happened is he would think that it was responding, but it was actually me in the other room typing it in there because I could see the account,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
he thought it was that responding. But I did this at Wake, and it was one of the best things I ever did. Sadly, Wake has this flaw, and they use this dashboard system. And when your classes go away, you're done with them. You don't have any more
Yeah.
access to them. Well, when you take a capstone course, you need access to them. So I built a GPT for each class. And what I did is I would upload the syllabus, I would upload all the modules, and I said, look, I need you to give me a check mark when I do something right. I need you to give me an X when I don't do it right. But I need you to show me why I did it right. I need you to show me why I did it wrong. And I taught him to do the same thing for his algebra class next year in physics. I said, look, the purpose of this is not to do the work for you. The
It's
purpose is that it kind of guides you. So when you're ready to submit your assignment, it can tell you things you're missing because you didn't follow the syllabus correctly. So it's an
yeah.
assistant. It's not replacing you. This is not a copy and paste. And I tell people, look, the schools to embrace it. My wife just graduated her master's in special ed. They would not let her use AI at all. When I was at Cincinnati and Wake, we were not allowed to submit assignments without using it, but we had to document how we used it.
Yeah.
And so those are going to be the schools I see surviving. The ones who are not embracing it are going to be the ones who struggle.
Yeah. To that point, you think about I've got 3 teenagers in school. It sounds like your nephew and you've got some kids in school too. Like,
Yeah.
actually, I know that about you because we've been friends a long time. But like, do you see a place where like homeschool is completely different now because of ChatGPT? And you could do so much educational. And why not? If you're a educational Kaplan or whoever it might be, partner up with ChatGPT to offer courses like that and train it and to be able to do things like that.
I mean, it's going to completely change a lot of the online school where it can do all. I mean, it's going to do away with a lot of these teaching jobs. It's going to be real curious what happens with higher level education.
Yeah,
These people who are becoming journalists. And one thing I like is what Bowling Green University has done, and I think it's brilliant. If you're going to major in like journalism, computer science, or there's like 6 others they're testing it with.
mhm.
For the first 2 semesters, you have to take AI classes to go with your major. So when you
Okay.
graduate, you get a major in journalism with a background in artificial intelligence. And I think that's a brilliant idea because you're
Yeah,
preparing for the future.
100%. And I think that and my kids and they joke with me a lot of like, Dad, why do I need to go to college? My son's gonna be a senior, and he's like, why do I need to go to college? I just use ChatGPT and Google for everything, and I don't need anything else. And I'm like, number one, for the experience. Number two, it's not going to be the same thing because there's experience of being in a classroom and learning from people and being around that, but also that credibility of having that degree from whatever college
And
it
I
may
will
be.
tell you this, I tell people, look, AI is going to replace a lot of things, but one thing that I don't think it'll ever replace, and that is the trades.
Yeah, 100%.
And I said, if you're an electrician, if you're a plumber, I said, is AI going to help you with do your job and research? Yeah, but it's still going to depend probably on you going to that house doing the work. That AI is not going to be able to build that house by itself.
No. Well,
You're still going to have to do that human labor, and so they get paid very well. My father-in-law was a pipe fitter for 42 years.
no, you're exactly right. And that's the thing. Like, people talk about that. And there's so many times that I'll even go to YouTube and watch a video of how to do something. Maybe it's plumbing related. Going back to your example,
Yep.
I can watch the video 5,000 times to see how to do it and rewind it and go back. I still don't know what the heck I'm doing because I'm not a plumber. I can
Yeah.
take the bowl lid off. I can go through and play with tinker with all the stupid things in there, but I'm still not a plumber at the end of the day, no matter how much video I watch. Or I can go to ChatGPT and say, hey, how do I build this table with, 4 legs and stand, and do this and build a this and that and put the measurements. I still have to build it. It just tells me how.
I'll give you an example. So I just swapped checking machines onto a new Mac. I was having problems with it working, and I went
Yeah,
to ChatGPT and I had to walk me through step by step on how to put it to the terminal. I had the problem solved without having to talk to an IT person.
that's crazy.
And
So
that's the kind of stuff. But look,
yeah,
what people don't forget, but all this changing with written, and the thing is, when AI finds you online, it's finding you still through the written content. Remember, it's not an indexable search engine yet. Perplexity and some other ones that are coming along. But
yeah,
I still think that YouTube is still one of the most important things that agents are still not getting into. And I say, look, I just had a meeting with our HubSpot. coach and our content manager today. They're like, hey, we've generated 60 leads in the last 90 days from one ebook and one YouTube video.
That probably took you 20 minutes to do.
Yeah, and not even that, because what I did is I took all my videos and I had it formed in there and all that stuff. But I was like, look, YouTube is still the number two search engine. And with everything going on with Google with the antitrust lawsuit, that's where they're going to shift to.
Yeah.
That's where things are going to get. Like YouTube is opportunity. So I tell people, look, when I'm running ads now, I'm not running a traditional Google ad. I'm running a YouTube ad so I can get in front of them because I know what they're searching for. I know what other YouTube channels are visiting. Heck, I built an ad comparing myself to my competition, talked about what we're good at, what they're good at. And they reached out to me, got really mad, not because I said anything negative. They're like, we're just mad because you're willing to be more transparent than us. We're not willing to put an ad out like that.
Yeah. I mean, that goes back
But
to
they said the same
years.
thing to me. They said, look, Chris, we're spending thousands of dollars in ads and we can't keep up with you now because the AI is recommending you so much because you spent so many years creating content and we didn't. We stuck to the ads that now the AI is recommending you for everything and you're not paying a dime for it.
Because, oh man, that's awesome. Well, at least you're having that conversation with them, though.
I'm very open with them. Like I tell people, I go, well, aren't you worried about your competition? I said, no, I'm worried about the customer experience.
And that's where it should be focused, is on the customer first. And I appreciate that about you.
Because someone said, are you worried about giving your competition all the answers through AI? I said, no, I'm more worried about trying to get my customer the answers through AI.
Right. And I don't know if this happened yet for you or not, but I would imagine you may have customers eventually reaching out to you like, how do I do this for my own business? How can I build the
We do.
automations?
We actually handle it for about 10 to 20 different insurance agencies now.
Oh, that's cool.
Is that, we handle a lot of the content for them through our marketing agency, but a lot of them we just do coaching with AI, with video, just building a niche, those kind of different things with our niche your business marketing agency. That as I said, I built a private community where all I do is teach insurance agencies how to use AI. And I mean, it's like $47 a month. And I go in there and I post twice a week. I put the standard operating procedures in there, I ask them what they want to learn. And I literally will post anything they want in there. I will go in there and do anything they want to do throughout that on that circle community.
That's really cool. So people listening right now, if they want to be a part of that, can they do that? Or is it closed now?
No, it's always open. They can
So
also follow my Artificial Intelligence Insurance Agent YouTube channel where I'm posting those videos on there usually twice a week. This week has been using Kara, how to be successful with Kara. The quoting tool, how I pull data out of HubSpot to create the right kind of content for my customer. I'm basically recording my day on Zoom and I'm taking those videos and putting them on our YouTube channel and teaching people, hey, here's what I'm doing with AI today. Or here's AI, how AI really screwed me up today because I didn't give it the right expectations.
oh, that's good to show the fails too. I think that's
Yeah.
important. So how would they, is there a certain website you send people to,
Yeah,
or
you
is
can go
there
to
a,
buildinganiche.com.
I see that on your shirt there. It looks like
Yep.
buildinganiche.com.
Yep.
And then that's your AI community for agents.
That's our AI. Well, that's our marketing agency. And I
Okay.
have the different stuff listed on there for our AI community where they can just reach out to me.
Okay. Um, and then the best way to find you socially, would that be LinkedIn? Would that be Facebook, Instagram,
So
Reddit?
LinkedIn, Facebook. I actually don't even do that much on Instagram. I do more really on Facebook and LinkedIn. And I'm even posting on there, hey, here's the fail I had today, or here's something I figured out with AI that I didn't realize I could do.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Yeah, I want people to be able to connect with you on that. The other thing before we wrap up, because I go pick up
And if
kids
there's
here in a
something
minute.
crazy, like I've always wanted to do this with AI, reach out to me. I'll brainstorm with you and say, look, here's how I would do it.
Yeah, I love that. Talk to me for a minute if you don't mind. If you don't, we can cut it. You've had some pretty traumatic personal things going on in your life the last year or so, or two, or however
Yeah.
long. And you've been on my prayer list, and I know a lot of other people's. Can you give us an update on what's been going on and how you're doing now? Do you feel
Yeah,
comfortable
I
talking
had
about it?
congestive heart failure. Yeah, no, I had congestive heart failure when I was 41. I'm actually even writing a book where I talk about it called The Bad Business Owner. Some things I just didn't know about. But I had congestive heart failure when I was 41, actually right after, I think it was Innovation in Nashville. And about 3 months later, completely lost my vision for about 6 months, got it back, ended up losing it again, had to have a third round of surgeries, Finally got through the surgeries, ended up going into stage 1 kidney failure. And now I've started to lose my vision again, but this one's out because I'm having to have cataract surgery because the scar tissue has built up so much from the other surgeries that hopefully once I get through that, my vision will be good for a while. I'm only traveling a couple times a year now. I'm not traveling like I was, but thankfully I'm still able to work every day. I'm still able to go to school.
I mean, that's such a, I mean, knowing all that's been going on and you're still growing businesses, you're still helping other people, you're still doing the story brand, the Marcus Sheridan stuff, the this,
Yep.
the that, the motor never stops. And I think that's fair. And I know from seeing your social and talking to you through text that you're still super involved with your family and you're still, able to be
Yep.
present with them and with your daughter, with
So
your
I'm
family.
in a mastermind marketing group, and there's a guy who teaches it, laying from his bed because he's paralyzed. And
Oh
I
my
was joking
gosh.
with kind of my content manager, said, "Look, I never want to hear anybody complain again. Like this guy's paralyzed. I think he's got cerebral palsy. Maybe never asked, but the fact that he's just willing to do this and can do this every day because he's not willing to accept no."
Love that. And that's inspiration, obviously. And I want people to hear your story and have that inspiration as well to know that, no matter what, you keep going. You put that one foot in front of the other every single day and keep going. Nothing, there's no excuses. Even if you were to go totally blind for the rest of your life, you would probably still be out creating the content, doing the thing.
Really, and I'll come out here and say this: like we're transitioning from a remote company to an in-person company. One of the reasons is with all my health issues is it's been very hard for me to do that remotely, like processing checks and those kinds of things. So bringing someone in to help with that, and really having my content manager here with me has helped. And we're getting ready to hire some people. I've opened an office on the back end for our marketing agency. On the front end is our insurance agency to really help the rest of our current remote staff. And I said I would never go in person again, but I saw some adaptation we needed to make with the marketplace, and that was one of the ones we decided to make.
Man, it's crazy to hear, your story and that, and someone that's so AI and tech focused, they are still coming back in office and they're still doing or you're going back to that, which just shows there's no right or wrong way to do it. Just whatever fits your business best and your agency best. If it is remote, stay remote. If it's go in the office, go in the office. I mean, if it's to use ChatGPT every day, do it. If it's not, don't. Buy this shiny object, go for it. And not, don't. I mean, I think it's
Yeah,
every agency is different.
I've got some team members that work from. I've got some team members that I can't work from home, and they're right here in the office with me, and their production is probably up 60%. They'll even tell you, "Hey, I can't work from home. I just don't have the right environment for it."
100%. And that's how I am. I have to be at my office here in my studio because if I'm at home, which I'm about to have to go here in a minute to go be home, but I can't, because when dad's home, it's like all my kids are at my butt for the next 5 hours. But
Yep. When
um,
I'm at home, I may not get up till 10:30 every day. When I'm in the office, I'm usually in the office by like 8:39.
yeah.
But I just get so much more done when I'm in the office.
Oh yeah, me too. 100%. But I want that. I know you do too. I want to be present at home when I'm home with my
Mhm.
family. I don't want to be
The other thing is
thinking
too, it's
about
very hard when you're remote to separate work and home.
100%.
And that's why I tell our team members, like, well, here's the reason why we don't let you work from a kitchen table or a dining room table. You have to have a room with a designated door. And the reason is when you close that door, you're done.
Yeah. You're not sitting at the kitchen table thinking about what happened earlier that day when you're trying to have dinner with your family. I think it's a great,
Yep.
that's smart. Man, I could keep going forever, but I got kids to pick up, dinner to start cooking. So, man, I appreciate you jumping on with me. I love the text messages, and you're always, guess what I just did? What did I just have to happen? I love seeing that. I appreciate you, and we'll have to do the 48 time on the show pretty soon. But thanks for coming on again.
No, thanks for having me, Heath.